It is a defining moment in Rover's history, probably the most significant...
It was a pale November morning in Britain, 8 a.m. The fog still thick over London streets. Drivers were listening to their usual radio programs when the calm voice of the BBC announcer broke through the static. Former Top Gear presenter Quentin Willson has died at the age of 68 after a short battle with lung cancer. The newsroom fell silent. Even seasoned journalists hesitated before reading the next line. He passed away peacefully at home in Warwickshire, surrounded by his family. The Guardian. Within minutes, the statement swept across Britain. Traffic reports were interrupted. Motorists who had grown up watching Top Gear pulled over, checked their phones, and read the same headline. On social media, tributes poured in. Jeremy Clarkson wrote simply, "We had some laughs. Properly funny man." James May called him a decent bloke who understood the heart of motoring. Sky News. From BBC America to Autocar US. International outlets echoed the loss. One American columnist wrote, "He made people feel clever about cars." In Australia, Top Gear Down Under replayed his 1,992nd segments as a tribute. Across forums from London to Sydney, the same comment appeared again and again. "He was the reason I bought my first car." By noon, hashtags number Quentin Willson and number Top Gear legend trended worldwide. The Guardian obituary called him a true national treasure, the moral compass of motoring television. For a country built on its roads and its cars, this news felt personal. As fog lifted from the M1 motorway, Britain mourned not just a presenter, but a voice of reason. Gone forever. Who was the man behind that calm tone who turned simple reviews into life lessons about fairness, responsibility, and the joy of driving? Quentin Willson was born on 23 July 1957 inches, Leicester, England, a city of factories, football, and working-class determination. His father, Bernard Willson, had served at Bletchley Park, the legendary code-breaking center of World War II. Precision, patience, and quiet intelligence ran in the family. As a boy, Quentin preferred dismantling model cars to playing football. He studied English literature at the University of Leicester, mastering language and rhythm skills that would later give his TV narration its distinct poise. After university, while his friends chased office jobs, he opened a small used car dealership between Leicester and Nottingham. He bought worn-out Rovers and Fords, fixed them by hand, sold them with honesty, and slowly earned a reputation for fairness. He once said in an interview, "The smell of oil isn't filth, it's life." By the mid-1982s, he was trading cars in Birmingham and London, appearing occasionally on local radio to discuss vehicle safety and value. Those short radio spots revealed something unusual. He could make complex mechanical ideas sound simple and even poetic. When the BBC began looking for new faces for Top Gear in 1990, a producer remembered that calm Midlands accent. They wanted someone who knew engines, not just auto cues. Willson was invited to audition. His test clip, standing beside a second-hand Vauxhall Cavalier, impressed everyone. "He spoke like he was helping you, not selling to you," one editor recalled. In 1991, Quentin Willson officially joined the BBC's Top Gear team. The man from Leicester with grease under his nails was about to teach Britain that cars could be both machines and mirrors of human behavior. The early 1990s were a defining decade for British television. Top Gear, though already a modest success, lacked heart. Then Quentin arrived. From 1991 to 2001, he became the show's voice of sensibility. While Jeremy Clarkson shouted horsepower figures, Willson talked about trust, depreciation, and practicality. His used car buyer's guide segments became instant favorites, television that actually saved people money. In one iconic 1995 episode, he circled a 10-year-old Ford Sierra, calmly pointing out where rust hides and how to check mileage honesty. It was educational, entertaining, and empowering. Ratings soared. Top Gear pulled 6 million viewers weekly. Behind the scenes, he was meticulous. Producers recalled him arriving with handwritten tables comparing fuel economy and insurance rates. He refused to exaggerate. If the gearbox slips, we'll say it, he'd insist. His partnership with Clarkson was famously contrasting yet complementary. Clarkson embodied adrenaline. Willson represented intellect. Their exchanges created a rhythm, fire, and calm that defined Top Gear's classic era. Off-camera, he mentored younger presenters, including Vicky Butler-Henderson and James May, urging them to focus on people before pistons. Audiences trusted him because he never looked down on them. He tested Ferraris with awe but never envy. He treated a 700-pound Fiesta with the same respect as a Bentley. Newspapers nicknamed him the man who made motoring human again. His influence extended beyond entertainment. Car markets saw measurable upticks in consumer confidence after his segments aired. Even dealers admitted. When Willson said a car was fair value, phones rang all week. By the late 1990 seconds, Top Gear had become part of Britain's cultural fabric. Yet Willson sensed a limit. The show was tilting towards spectacle, away from substance. After a decade of teaching viewers to think critically about cars, he was ready for another road. In 2001, at the height of his popularity, Quentin announced his departure from Top Gear. Fans were shocked. His explanation was simple. I want to speak freely about what drivers really need. He joined Channel 5's Fifth Gear, continuing his balanced style alongside Tiff Needle and Vicky Butler-Henderson. Yet his ambitions extended beyond television. He became a columnist for the Daily Mirror and Sunday Mirror, writing for over 15 years. His weekly columns exposed scams in the used car industry, criticized predatory insurance pricing, and educated readers on fuel efficiency. He won the Motoring Writer of the Year 2004 award for clarity and honesty. Around this time, he began speaking publicly about ethics in motoring journalism, arguing that reviewers had a duty to consumers, not corporations. Journalism should protect drivers the way seatbelts protect lives, he told a 2005 media conference. This phase marked a turning point. The TV lights dimmed, but his influence grew deeper. He evolved from presenter to advocate a transformation that would soon place him in the heart of national policy debates. The year 2011 was a tough one for British motorists. Fuel prices hit record highs. The government planned another rise in fuel duty. Quentin Willson had had enough. Alongside Howard Cox and MP Robert Halfon, he co-founded FairFuel UK, a nationwide campaign to freeze and reduce fuel tax. Standing outside Parliament with a modest sign reading, "Stop punishing drivers," he spoke into cameras not as a celebrity, but as a citizen. Britain's drivers are not villains, he declared. They are workers, parents, and taxpayers. The campaign resonated instantly. Within months, FairFuel gathered over 600,000 signatures, eventually surpassing 3 million, one of the largest non-partisan petitions in UK history. Through calm logic and relentless data, Willson convinced policymakers that endless tax hikes hurt families and the economy. Between 2011 and 2019, the government postponed 9 planned increases in fuel duty, saving motorists an estimated £100 billion. Robert Halfon MP later called him the voice of drivers on the floor of Westminster. In interviews, Willson remained humble. I'm not anti-tax. I'm pro-fairness. As hybrid and electric technology emerged, he saw a new frontier. In 2020, he launched FairCharge, advocating a clean and fair road ahead. He demanded nationwide EV charging infrastructure and transparent electricity pricing. At the 2022 Everything Electric live show, he told the audience, the EV revolution must be fair not just for the rich or the London elite. Every driver deserves a place in the future. He personally drove over 100,000 miles in electric vehicles to test real-world performance, often filming YouTube segments on battery life and winter range. Unlike many advocates, he wasn't an idealist, he was practical. His campaigns earned him invitations to Westminster think tanks, sustainability conferences, and BBC debates. Even critics respected him. The Times described him as from engine expert to energy visionary. By 2024, FairCharge had helped secure government commitment for 300,000 charging points nationwide and influenced regulations ensuring electricity tariffs for EV users remained competitive. His FairCharge statement that year read, "Progress is only progress when everyone can afford to join it." From classic cars to clean energy, Quentin Willson had completed a journey few could imagine remaining steadfastly on the side of ordinary people all along. In October 2025, family friends quietly confirmed that Quentin had been diagnosed with lung cancer. The Times, it progressed rapidly, yet he kept working. At the Everything Electric Show 2025, his voice slightly softer but still steady, filled the hall via video link. The journey towards clean energy is the drive of our lifetime. He spent his final weeks at home in Warwickshire with his wife Michaela and their 3 children. Neighbors saw him walking slowly in the garden, notebook in hand. He kept writing short reflections on EV forums, encouraging young engineers to believe in logic. His daughter later shared that he had been drafting a podcast titled Driving Forward, a final conversation about the future of transport, but the illness advanced too quickly. On Saturday, 8 November 2025, Quentin Willson passed away peacefully at home. His family's statement read, "He died peacefully, with hope for a brighter future." ITV News. Tributes flooded in from across Britain. Jeremy Clarkson's post reached millions within hours. James May tweeted, "He helped me when I first joined television. A true gentleman." Auto Express printed a full-page headline, "A champion of drivers, a voice of fairness." Plans were soon announced for a memorial at Warwick Cathedral, celebrating both his broadcasting and campaigning achievements. That night, hundreds of motorists flicked their headlights for 1 minute in silent tribute. On Britain's roads, the glow of those lights looked like a quiet procession, an unspoken thank you. Quentin Willson's legacy reaches far beyond television ratings. He redefined what it meant to talk about cars. In media, he set a precedent: honesty over hype. Current BBC and ITV programs still mirror his balance of education and empathy. The Guardian called him a bridge between the combustion past and the electric future. In politics, he turned motorists from silent taxpayers into a recognized constituency. Auto Express wrote, "Without Willson, FairFuel would have been a campaign. With him, it became a movement." For communicators and marketers, his life offered timeless lessons. Authenticity over celebrity. He never exaggerated a review for applause. Knowledge builds trust. Decades in garages gave his words weight. Purpose drives longevity. He evolved from car dealer to journalist to policy influencer. Empathy is power. He cared about how people felt behind the wheel. In universities today, media students study Top Gear 1,990 seconds episodes to analyze tone and credibility. FairFuel UK remains an example in political communication courses. Peers describe him as a national treasure in overalls. His true measure wasn't fame, but trust. Every viewer who bought a safe used car, every family spared another tax rise, every young engineer who joined the EV movement all form his living memorial. He taught Britain that progress is meaningful only when it is fair. In that, his impact extends well beyond the road. Dusk settles over the English countryside. A single silver Jaguar E-Type glides along a winding lane. The soundtrack is soft, a heartbeat of engine and wind. Quentin Willson didn't just talk about cars. He talked about life, about fairness, about logic, about hope. Cut to archive footage. Willson smiling at a car show crowd, explaining a gearbox to a curious child, holding a petition outside Parliament, laughing beside Clarkson in 1998. He spent a lifetime showing that cars are not symbols of wealth, but stories of people. He may have left the road, but he never left our journey. The camera follows the Jaguar until it disappears into the mist. Thank you, Quentin Willson, 1957, 2025. Share your tribute below. Subscribe to Gone But Iconic, where we remember the voices that changed our world. The final sound is the hum of an idling engine slowly fading away, replaced by quiet. In a world chasing speed, he reminded us the truest measure of a car isn't how fast it goes, but how well it takes you.